planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Buddy Guy. I have no idea. What's the song, Bruce?
I think it's called Are You Ready for Fioretti?
Look what all you got. And vote for Bob Fioretti.
Oh, okay.
Bob Fioretti, huge fundraiser for him last night at Buddy Guy's. And recently, Buddy Guy donated $500,000 to his campaign, really giving it a boost. And that's why you've been seeing Bob Fioretti everywhere. His commercials on this station, too, and on cable and national network television.
Are we ready for Fioretti on our air?
That's what I heard.
Well, here I am.
Good
Hi,
morning.
and with that, we welcome him back to the program.
Get ready for Fioretti.
Get ready, and he is here. So last night, tell us about the fundraiser.
We had over 300 people there last night. It was a great fundraiser at Buddy Guy's legend, Bobby Rush, and no, not the congressman, the other blues legend who won a Grammy last year, was the featured individual, and then they had a great appearance by Buddy Guy, and Buddy and Bobby did a song for me, and I was very honored to be there last night, and I am humbled by both of their support and what they've done, and especially Buddy offering his place up last night and his contribution to my campaign.
Yeah, so why did he donate to your campaign? Did he just call you out of the blue and say, "Hey, you're my guy"?
I don't think Buddy has ever given to a person running for office ever before. And here's somebody who's played in the White House, played across the world, as a matter of fact. And that's why I am honored. I've known him for a while, quite a while, and before I was even in office. And we've talked on a number of occasions about the direction of the city. And I think he sees the division of most of these candidates, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but as I said last night, I see a lot of these candidates, black and brown versus white, black versus white, brown versus black, and they talk this way, and they talk this way in these forums, and I'm trying to come together, and especially the police versus us. We hear that out of nine out of the candidates are the police versus us. Talk about it that way. And it's time to unite and bring people together, because we are not going to move forward unless we are all together in step. And I think Buddy really, from some of the conversations and what he said, he recognizes my integrity, experience, and believes I'm the only candidate for the people instead of the special interests.
Well, you didn't have somebody cheat for you on the insurance exam, which was the subject of the debate the other day.
Right. In fact, I didn't even get to the insurance exam.
There
right.
you go. Now, I thought that was fascinating. I mean, I don't know how relevant it is to who you want to have elected, because I don't really care if Mayor Daley has any integrity. I kind of think it's baked in the cake that they
don't
have some flaws. I mean, well, Richie Daley took the bar exam 3 times and then suddenly miraculously passed it the 4th time, and now apparently Bill Daley. But it was brought up in this Tribune story about the fact that he was taking the insurance exam. He left some of the answers blank, and then somebody else filled out the answers for him, and he said, I didn't cheat. Well, no, somebody cheated for you. I guess it was the same guy who took the SAT for Derrick Rose. But this is the kind of stuff that we're talking about.
And it sure is. And it is a question of integrity and how you treat the people fairly and how you unite the neighborhoods. I really don't see... when we talk about some of these candidates, the question is, what jobs have they brought to their neighborhoods? What have they done for their neighborhoods? They talk about how the west and south sides have been, there's been disinvestment in those communities. Well, where have their aldermen been? What have they done? I have been calling out the black aldermen for the lack of doing anything for their communities or being jobs in this period of time.
It's so strange. During these debates, and I know there was one at a different radio station, they all asked each candidate, if you weren't running, who would you vote for? And the majority of people said Paul Vallis. So I'm going to ask you the question. If you weren't running, who would you vote for of the 13
I don't know.
people?
I really don't know. I've listened to them all. I listened to how they change their answers depending on the group. And it is a very, very difficult question. I don't see any of these people have the ability to lead this city at this time, both locally, on a national level, and to bring in global companies that will help bring jobs into our neighborhoods.
All right, so we have a huge pension deficit. We have teachers, we have firefighters, police officers. What is your plan to fill that coffer?
Oh, you know, I look at this phony thing that they're doing already on the state level of kicking the can down the road. We can't do that anymore. There are ways to, you know, again, a ramp up. Right now, our budget, and some of these folks that are running for mayor talk about the bigger budgets, but our budget is, for the city of Chicago, is $10.2 billion. We are paying $900 million, into the pension fund. The ramp up in the next 4 years, it goes up to an additional $1 billion. We will be paying $2 billion into our pension fund. So where can we make cuts? How do we bring new sources of revenue? And, of course, we will be in a little bit of a tiff over this commuter tax. But until I find, because we need $400 million next year. And and at this rate, I'm not sure if we're going to have a deficit in our budget by mid-June, that we won't be making the projections on income. And I think that may be a realistic, another issue, a couple million. When I say a couple, not a few million, but maybe $100 million off in our revenue projections. So we are looking for $400 to $500 million for just to come up to deal with the shortfalls and the pension for next year.
Pensions, schmensions. Let's fiddle while Rome burns. What do you think of the Jussie Smollett situation?
Oh, for God's sakes. I mean, look, anybody that didn't smell a rat there was kidding themselves. Good Morning America should be taken off the air for that Robin Roberts interview. The Democratic candidates that were running for president and the Speaker of the House that tweeted things out ought to really start looking in the mirror on the divisions that they're causing in this country on every time that everything is racial against versus Donald Trump. And on top of it, I think the Best Supporting Actress award should go to Kim Fox for her withdrawal from this whole situation.
Yeah, all right? So, we learned late yesterday that she's recused herself from this case. Why? I mean, there was the Sun-Times reported that she could be distantly related to him. What does that mean?
I don't know.
They're distant relatives?
Another ironic twist in this whole thing. And all these politicians want to get close to the stars, play games with them. See, look at what I did. Look who I know. All this nonsense. This is first of all, I really do think the postal authorities have much more in terms of evidence here. And the letter, we could talk about the attack, but I think the letter that was sent 2 weeks before out of a suburban post office 11 miles away from downtown, I think raises additional questions that I think the federal government, not the FBI, but the postal authorities need to look at. And
they're tough. They should be, people shouldn't go poo-poo the postal inspectors, but they will get him on this.
I know they will, and I think it'll be a much more serious charge, and won't be. Let's say, and I want to give everybody a benefit of the doubt on this kind of an situation, but. I said it a few days ago, and I've been bringing up the issue at some of these forums, that we are spending more time on this, our detectives, than any other case. And we got a 1-year-old who was shot in the head on life support for the last 3 weeks. And I believe the community knows who did the shooting, but this code of silence that exists in parts of our city on the community because they refuse to come up and say who did the shooting is a cause of most of our problems. We had 3,000 shootings, or almost 3,000 shootings last year, and we don't have enough resources to deal with that situation. With the first 30 minutes of medical care of those shootings cost us about $165 million. $165 million on those shootings. And who's paying for it? The taxpayers of this city and county.
Well, do you think Jussie Smollett should pay restitution? I mean, even when he received that letter that he probably sent to himself or the Nigerian brother spent, you had the hazmat crew responding to you at Chicago Police, Chicago Fire. He's wasting. Not to mention the 20 detectives assigned to us.
How did they know that he and his producers should put on plastic gloves as they're opening up the letter? I mean,
because he said that there was something inside of it, which there was. It was crushed Tylenol or crushed aspirin. But he thought it was anthrax.
Yeah, sure.
But he knew it was because he sent it to himself.
Why would you even think that? You get a letter.
Well, don't you X-ray all your letters?
Well, because the outside looked, sinister because it said MAGA on it.
I had a professor once in my law school that would receive certain things, and because he was somebody from actually foreign countries like that, and I think this is going to play out in the next few days. If he's going to be charged, whatever the grand jury may or may not do, if he's even going to go before a grand jury, and I think on the federal level we're going to see something happen there too.
Yeah, I hope they throw the book at him.
We can speculate all we want, but again, it's taking away valuable resources from real crimes in our city. And as I've said before, the shooting of the 1-year-old. The community knows who did it. The mother was a target. Somebody should start coming forward and dealing with those issues.
But it's hard to come forward because then you're a target.
No, the mother's been shot before. She knows.
Yeah, but you can't come forward because it's easy to push other people. Well, then you're a target too. They're scared. That's why they're not coming forward.
Bob Fioretti, where can we find out more information about your campaign?
Bob for Chicago, FOR, bobforchicago.com on my website. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook, and we're pretty active. And I listen to all points of view, and I'm going to make sure I keep listening to the people of this city because they have the solutions, not these 14 people that are running for mayor.
Yeah, and I want to thank you again for coming on because people are scared to come on, like Preckwinkle, Susanna Mendoza, Bill Daley, and Joyce.
Well, we are ready for Fioretti, and I can't rhyme anything with Preckwinkle. So
it doesn't matter.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
I do appreciate it, and let's all have a great rest of the day.
Great. Thanks, Bob.